Larri Whyte.
Shout out Larri motherfucking White.
Hey, shout out Larri Whyte, bro. Best podcast around.
Since you ain't as tired as I. Hi, my name is Thiago.
What's up, guys? Larri Whyte podcast. I got a special guest today. Go ahead and introduce yourself.
What's up? I'm Thiago Frazier.
So,
That's all.
all right. So, I was reading. You came from a music family. Like, how did that help you grow when you were growing up making music, and like, how did that all start?
Man. So my dad plays the guitar. Mom plays the violin. My mom always wanted to teach me and my sister violin, but I always lacked the discipline.
Right.
Just didn't want to put in the practice. So it went from my mom teaching us to wanting to do what my dad does.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to be cool, like the way that I thought my dad was cool. So I would just write my own music. Like it wasn't, as a 6-year-old, they see that and they're like, oh, like he's pretending to be a rock star.
Yeah.
But in my head, like I was there, playing air guitar, just and making up lyrics just on the fly, or sometimes I'd memorize them as I wrote them, and I'd even make parodies of like Disney songs that I really liked. Those are some of my my earliest memories of like creating original music, was parodying Disney songs and stuff.
Okay.
So yeah,
Definitely. What's the first song you ever made? Like, it doesn't even got a one you dropped. One that you like wrote.
A distinct one that I wrote, I think would have come in 2015 or 2016. I have a little brother. He's 6 now. Back in 2016, he's just a little tyke.
All right.
And I would sing songs for him before he went to bed. That was just how I helped him get to sleep fast. And so a lot of times it was just, Can't Help Falling in Love by Elvis Presley, stuff like that, simple songs. And he would actually pick up on the songs too and learn to sing along. But I just wanted to write a song. I wanted to write a song for the both of us, just for us to have. And so I was like thinking about like, what am I going to write? I want to write it about my little brother.
Right.
What am I going to say? There's so many things to say. So I was like, well, I'm gonna write a rap. And so, and I was just recently looking through this like old binder of lyrics that I had, and it had the first song that I ever wrote called Oh Brother. And it was just, it didn't even have a beat. I didn't even write it down. It was just all in my head. So that's, one of the first songs I ever wrote.
That's dope. So what are some artists you like to listen to? I mean, it could be like, I noticed you said you like you've experienced all genres and learned all genres. What's your favorite artist you like to listen to?
Favorite? I hate this question. Man.
I mean, it could be a couple of them. It doesn't got to be one.
Yeah. So I think I can say that the 2 people who made me want to rap were Andy Mineo. I don't know if you've ever heard of him, but he's okay. So he started out as like a Christian artist, and then he's kind of gone into some more like mainstream hip hop. But him and MF Doom, obviously, like gotta pay homage. So them definitely. I heard somebody was asked like the same question, and they said like the usual suspects. So I'm talking like Drake, Kendrick, J. Cole, those guys. Okay. So definitely. Yeah.
Are you only on SoundCloud, or are you on other platforms?
My song Dire Straits featuring OG Genius, I just last week, I think, put that out on Spotify. Okay. So but the rest of my songs are soon to come to the other platforms, and it's on like YouTube because DistroKid puts it on all the stuff.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
So you said you were in school. I recently interviewed somebody that was also in school. How do you balance out music and school and like, I know it's hard. It has to be.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it is. And sometimes like balancing isn't even the word, you
Right.
know.
Yeah.
It's like, man, I'm constantly getting in trouble, like with not in the worst kind
Right.
of trouble, but just my mom is just like, hey man, like, are you actually doing the work?
Right.
And I'm just like, no, I've been writing music.
Yeah.
So there's probably 1 or 2 days out of the week where I'm like, ugh, I gotta actually do what I'm obligated to do.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I don't do it very well. So I'm
Okay.
trying to say.
What are your other hobbies besides making music? Like, what's something you like to do besides?
um Honestly, I'd say like working out. I'm not in like the best shape, but I enjoy like being active.
Right.
Especially like this past year has been huge. So uh riding bikes, especially, like I love bike riding. So
Cool. What were you doing before you started making music? Did you have your mind set on something else before the music kind of hit, or?
what was I was probably 12 or 13 when I first started writing. So before that, I don't know, I was just kind of going through the motions. We had just moved. We lived in East Texas. My family lived in East Texas for 10 years.
Okay.
And then we moved because of my dad's job in 2015. So before I started writing music, I was just learning kind of getting my bearings, in this like new place. Didn't have any friends, so that was fun.
I can imagine that one.
But yeah.
Okay. So you're back to your family and the music background. How do they feel about you wanting to pursue music? Like, obviously, if they have a background, I'm sure they're going to support it. But like, has there ever been a time where they're like, hey, I don't want you to do this, or like maybe you should put your mind on something else?
Yeah, just about every day.
Okay.
I mean, yeah, my dad is probably more chill with it than my mom, but my mom is my mom is one of the smartest people that I know. And so she also knows how not smart I can be at times. So she tries to come alongside, and she doesn't discourage me from doing music. She just
Right.
wants me to approach it, strategically. And a lot of the times I'm just doing it for fun,
All right.
and so, but I do want it to turn into my profession, like what I do for a living. And so she's kind of the one that's like, hey, you gotta go down this path if you want to be successful in the way that you're really imagining. So yeah, they're supportive. They definitely they want me to succeed. We just, at the moment, we have different
Views.
ideas of that. Yeah.
So what are your plans after school? Like college wise, stuff like that. What do you want to?
Right now, so I'm working at a grocery store.
Okay.
And they have some career options like right out of high school that I could pursue. And so I've thought a lot about that, just doing that so to pay the bills, like while I continue to make music. And I've college has never been like something I want to do.
Right.
So yeah. So if anything, if I pursue anything down the college road, I might take like a business course online because I want to stay in the area. I don't want to move. So
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
Sorry, what were you saying?
No, you're good.
I was gonna say you probably got since you moved, you've probably gotten so used to there now, so you don't want to keep switching and then.
Right. Exactly.
3 people that have had a big influence on you and why.
Oof. Man, I've never been asked this question before. That's a good one. Okay, let's see. Definitely my dad. Me and my mom are kind of like a little bit opposite of each other, but that's what makes our relationship so strong. But at the same time, me and my dad are almost like one and the same. So, you know, we have the same sense of humor, and so we just get along, you know.
Okay.
I would say I have a buddy, his name's Quinn, and big shout out to him. Love that kid. He is like, he's a lot younger than I am, but he is super cool, like very disciplined, very smart, and like self-driven, self-motivated. And he reminds me a lot of myself, but just with a better head on his shoulders, because I've done like some stupid things, and he's like been presented with those same like decisions, and has always taken like, you know, the right path. So you know, and I'd like to think that I've had a lot of influence on him, you know.
Definitely.
So trying to carry that on. Man, who else?
I know it's a hard question to think about.
It is, yeah.
I try to like keep it in there, but
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe my pastor.
okay.
My pastor's a good one. Yeah, he's like really poured into my life, and it's always like there to encourage me. So
Definitely. Okay.
Yeah.
Back to your, you know, your friend. I think it's hard. I mean, it's not hard, but you know, we all have like friends that we grew up with, and then, you know, we either become closer or we all go our separate ways. And you're always gonna have those friends that stick with you no matter what. And I think that
Yeah.
you definitely got one with that one.
for sure.
So what are some of your goals you want to work on with yourself or music, or like where do you want to see yourself in the near future?
In the near future, man, just bigger platforms, like a wider reach,
Definitely.
you know. Like right now, my perception of like famous is clocking in at work and people being like, yo, I heard that song, like that was fire, you know. But I understand that that's like, those are the seeds that I'm sowing, like, and eventually, if I keep working at it, like it's gonna take off like in major ways.
Agreed.
So you know, right now I don't stay fixed on the future, you know what I mean? Like I just keep working, and if I understand what I'm working towards, eventually I get there before I realize it. So
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Serious question. What's something you wish your younger self, or your younger self knew about you now? Something that, you know, you wish you would have known that was gonna not necessarily happen, but a character trait or just anything.
Man, you got some tricks up your sleeve.
I know.
Man, I'd say like there's just been a lot of times where I wasted time. That's kind of it's been a theme, and just in my teenage years, like I spent a lot of time just not doing anything, and not growing, not working on myself. And so I think that that's kind of harbored this a trait maybe of contentment, of being comfortable, and not wanting to be uncomfortable. But that's where growth comes from. It's like being uncomfortable. That's where it starts. So I'd say like as far as like what I'd say to my younger self, it's probably just don't worry about the girls, don't worry about you know what the people think about you. That's always, it still is, and I think it is for everybody, no matter how old you are, is like what people think about you.
Definitely. I would, 100%.
Yeah, like 13, 14, 15, those were like where it was kind of at its peak.
Right.
But you know, just not just panicking over like what outfit I'm gonna wear,
Right.
you know, and how I'm gonna say this thing, you know. And now I'm still learning to be myself. you know, it's a journey, but yeah, just be yourself as
Okay.
often as you can.
Definitely. Back to that question. If you could go back in time and change something that happened or maybe something you did, like if it gets too personal to answer, but what would you change? Even about yourself?
No, I don't mind personal questions at all. You know, I've done things, I've gone through, you know, just the usual depression, anxiety, all that stuff, you know, so there are things that I did in that period where even those things, I actually wouldn't,
Okay.
I wouldn't say, you know, hey, don't do that, because
Right.
like I made it through that,
Definitely.
you know, and it's a part of my story. But um man,
I know they're trick
that's
questions. I try not to throw them in like trickery, but
yeah, no, you I like it. There's just so many things,
right.
you know. It's kind of, me and my mom talk about this a lot. It's like it's hard to ponder these questions because you have to like live in the hypothetical
Mhm.
for a moment, just and be like, what if that didn't happen? You know, and where would I be at now if it weren't for that thing, you know? So when it comes to like the hard things, the, you know, the tragic things that have happened in my life, it's, I don't know, it's really tough to like choose one. That's what
It
I'm
is.
saying.
I get it.
So don't know that I have an answer for that one. I
Okay.
might think about it further.
All right. So off that topic, do you think, how do I want to word this? Do you think today's generation, you think it's got a positive impact or a negative impact just on everybody, you know, because there's so much things going on in the world,
Mm.
you know, do you think it's got I mean, I guess you could go both ways, but how do you feel about it?
Yeah. Um, I see a lot of negative impact, to be honest. Yeah. And I'm not just talking about like in the art form that we exist in. You know what I mean? Like there's all this, you know, you have the artists being like, hey, we don't like this new music. You
Right.
know, it's not just that. It's not limited to that. It's like, I don't know. I'm discouraged by my peers. A lot of the times I'm let down by just behavior and ethics.
Right.
You know, I just see a lack of, dedication, and a lack of personal expression. Like people are just starting to kind of, it's becoming this, not to sound like, I don't know, woke or
Right.
whatever you want to call it, but it's like it feels like everybody's starting to kind of like melt together, and like it's hard to find, really unique people with unique passions who have different outlooks on the world than other people. Like I think social media has definitely been a huge component of I don't know, not brainwashing
Right.
people necessarily, but just, you know, getting people to be focused on one thing instead of the world around them. So
I agree. I think the work ethic is definitely something that I don't see in a lot of like, because I know I'm 21, you're 18, so we're a little bit older, but I definitely don't see the work ethic in not younger people, but just today's generation in general. You know, it's not.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
not.
it's that anytime somebody complains about their job, like you can work at a gas station, it's like, man, it kind of sucks to work at a gas station, like I
Right.
get that, but it's just like when it's every day that you're like, man, this sucks, and you kind of get this victim mentality. It's like then it becomes less about that and more of like, hey man, like you still have a job,
Right.
at least you have a
Exactly.
job, you know
Exactly.
what I mean?
I
You
agree.
know, so
Okay, so I got a two-part question.
okay,
So
cool.
first question, how would you tell people how to handle criticism in some way? I mean,
Hmm.
you know, because everybody takes it different.
Yeah. um Man, see, that's something that's something I'm still learning.
Okay.
You know, uh, there, huh. I don't, to be honest, I don't get a ton of criticism.
Okay.
And granted, my circle is much smaller. My sphere of like people that are aware of me is a lot smaller.
Right.
But you know, if we're talking about criticism from like my parents, you know,
Well, I mean,
that's yeah, any criticism.
yeah.
Repeat the question again. I kind
Okay.
of
So
got lost in my thoughts.
how would you give any advice on somebody trying to take criticism? Like anybody really, it doesn't have to be anybody, just how do you think they should handle it? Because some people take it the wrong way. Some people think people are trying to be rude. Just like what would your best advice be on how to handle it?
Yeah. Okay. Okay. So I would say so, and this is something that I've tried to implement into my process is when somebody gives you criticism,
Mhm.
just take their advice. Like
Right.
it's kind of one of those things that's like it seems like so revolutionary to like actually listen to your critics.
Right.
But I feel like that's where the growth happens. You know, I've sometimes, excuse me, like my mom will hear a song and she'll be like, yeah, like what you're saying is cool, it's got a good rhythm, but yeah, I wish you would dive deeper into this, and or something like that.
Right.
Or somebody else will say like, yeah, that flow, it's just it doesn't work.
Right.
It I don't take that as, man, trash the whole song,
Right.
like get rid of it, start over.
Right.
I don't think I've ever done that. I think it's more of like the next time you write a song,
Mhm.
like just try this next time around. I'm not saying that you don't have to, reinvent yourself every time somebody gives you criticism. Just take their advice for like once, try it out. Doesn't have to be a full song either. It could just be,
Right.
16 bars and you just see
Right.
where it goes from there.
Okay.
So part one, part two.
Okay. Part two. What would your advice be? I know it's an advice question. What would your advice be on someone trying to reach a goal or a dream? Like how do they push through things? What would your best advice be?
Um, I would say two things is like find a space where you can really think.
Okay.
That's yeah, I have two pieces of advice. That's the first. Yeah, because like I mean it's hard to see. This is the storage room at the back of my house
Okay.
that I literally I wish you could have seen me. I was a madman trying to clean this place out and
Right.
turn it into a studio just because I need a place to like do my thing.
Right.
I've got 3 younger siblings
Mhm.
that are always, running around making noise.
Right.
So I just needed a place where I could go
Right.
and just write and just do what I love to do. So I'd say, do with what you have. This is what I did here. And the other piece of advice would be, don't rely on your motivation uh, to get you to the goal. Um, just kind of a short little story. When I was preparing myself mentally for like senior year, because I know it was going to be like a lot of work,
Right.
I was just watching, your basic study tips on YouTube, and I found this one guy who's trying to get who's trying to be a doctor,
Mhm.
and he gets, I think, 4 hours of sleep every day and is studying for, whatever, 20 to 22 hours. And he just talked about how it is all about and this is going to get like, this might get turned into a meme. It is already a meme, but it's about drive.
Okay.
It's if you yeah, if you rely on your motivation, you're gonna wake up and you're gonna be like, man, I don't feel like doing that, I'm not gonna do it. That's
Yep.
motivation. Drive is waking up every day and being like, I don't want to do this, but I I have to,
Right.
you know. And he's in the video, like he's crying, like he's like, I want to buy my mom a house.
Right.
You know, that's drive. That's like, I don't care what it takes to buy my mom a house. I'm gonna put in the work, put in the hours, and take what's sorry, had to
No.
do it. Had to do it.
No.
Yeah, you know, just do what you got to do to get there. You know what I mean? So that's carried me like a long way through senior year, just with all the stuff that gets thrown my way. So drive over motivation.
Okay. Last question. So
All
my
right.
3 favorite songs that I liked of yours, I listen to Raindrops, I listen to Mellowed Out, and I listen to Full Circle. I
Yeah.
respect what you're doing. I love your music. I appreciate you joining me on the show.
Yeah, thanks, man.
What's your favorite song you've ever released? I know I asked you what your favorite song that you made, but what's your favorite one you've dropped?
Out of the
Just any of them. It doesn't got to be out of the 3 I picked. That was just 3 I liked.
yeah. Out of the however many it is, was it Daydream Full Circle? So like 5, tough 6. I think it's 6 songs total. Oh man. Mellowed Out. I think Mellowed Out.
Okay.
Probably. Yeah, that was a crazy experience, just stumbling upon that beat, and it instantly, that was one of the quickest, like, I am in love with this beat
Right.
kind of thing. And the words just, I mean, in one afternoon, 12 hours, that rarely happens. I take a good chunk of time to work on my songs, usually, but Mellowed Out happened in one afternoon. Recorded it, mixed it, you know, and it's some of my best work. So I'd say Mellowed Out.
Okay, cool. I appreciate you coming on. I had a great time.
For sure.
I appreciate it.
Yeah, man.
I'll leave all your links down in the description. I'm doing this thing. I'm trying to do like a week upload at a time, so I don't, views don't go down. So it shouldn't be too long when I put yours out. I might try to get yours out on Spotify first. I'm gonna try something different.
Okay. Yeah.
So we'll see what happens, but it'll be out soon. I promise you that.
Sure. Do your thing, man.
Yes, I will drop all your links down in the description. I appreciate you coming on. I had a blast.
Appreciate you, man.
If you have anybody that wants to hit me up, tell them to send them my way.
For sure.
Yep, go check them out.
Sir.
Appreciate you. Larri Whyte
Thank
Podcast.
you.
Peace.